Hello and great morning, everybody. I am so happy to see you all today. Welcome and come on in the room. Come on in the
Hello and
room.
great morning, everybody. I am so happy to see you all today. Welcome and come on in the room. Come on in the room. Hello and great morning, everybody. I am so happy to see you all.
Awesome sauce. Can you tell me that you can hear me? Drop a one in the chat if you can hear me. Just want to make sure all my sound is firing right. Drop a one in the chat if you can hear me, please. Welcome, 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 everybody. So glad to see you. Good morning, Mia. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hello on Facebook. Hello on YouTube. Hello on TikTok. Listen, we are going to get into, thank you, Sierra, a powerful topic this morning. And so I would also love to see your good mornings. Good morning, Sonia. Good morning, Aaliyah. Thank you for joining. Great morning, everybody. I hope you are doing absolutely amazing on today. I am thrilled to talk to you all this morning about moving from survival mode to vision mode. Hello, somebody. We are moving from survival mode to vision mode. So before we dive in, I want to ask you a question that might feel a little bit uncomfortable. And you may see me moving like this because I'm, talking to three different cameras. But I want to ask you a question. Are you building your future or are you simply reacting to your present? Are you building your future or are you simply reacting to your present? See, the enemy of great isn't always bad. Most of the time, the enemy of great is busy. You can wake up at 5 a.m., crush your to-do list, answer every DM, but if your source of activity is survival, you aren't actually moving, you're just vibrating in place. Good morning, Jamaica. Good morning, Chrissy. Good morning, Compton High. Good morning, Ghost. Good morning, Tan. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Feel free to drop your good mornings in the chat. So glad to be here with you all today. Good morning, Tidy Boy, and Joseph White. So you are in the right place at the right time today. You're in the right place at the right time. So let's talk about we're moving from survival mode to vision mode. So what does that look like? Thank you so much for following me. Thank you for liking, for commenting, and for sharing, for dropping your hearts and your stars. I appreciate it. So when a person is in survival mode, it means that we are constantly exhausted and overwhelmed just trying to make it through the day. Anxious, you may feel anxious and don't even know why. And your immune system gets weakened on a cellular level. You feel like you're never getting enough done and there's always too much to do. And it's a state where your brain is focused on getting through and not thriving. There were many times in my life where I've recognized now that I was living in survival mode. A few other symptoms of some of those you may have already been like, oh yeah, I recognize that. But some other symptoms are snapping easily. And your nervous is because your nervous system is overloaded. Also, like feeling easily overwhelmed, like it's like everything overwhelms you, like not another thing, right, Linda? When we tune people out in conversations, like people talking to us can feel like background noise. And you have to stop and say, what did you just say? Not because you weren't sitting there right in front of them or not because you weren't on the phone with them, but because your brain was already working on other things and processing other things. So we're talking about moving from survival mode to vision mode. Good morning, Courtney. Good morning, Jan. Good morning, Super J and Ryan. Feel free to drop your good mornings in the chat as well, please. As well, please. Okay, so we want to move from survival mode to vision mode. Survival mode causes us to feel like we're exhausted, causes us to feel like there's always so much to do and we're not going to get it done or not enough time to do it. It causes us to tune people out when you're talking to them because it feels like background noise and you have to ask people, what did you just say? It causes you to feel this anxious feeling and you don't know why. Constantly exhausted, just trying to make it through the day. Well, you're in the right place at the right time, okay? I mentioned at the very, very beginning that great isn't always the enemy of bad. Most of the time, the enemy of great is busy. Great morning, Maya. Okay. So when we're in survival mode, you may have recognized some of those things, but other symptoms are we snap easily. So there are times where I realized I was snapping easily at my kids or at my husband, and I would have to say, okay, if I noticed it on the same day each week. Okay, this keeps happening on this day, this week. There are too many things in my calendar. I need to make adjustments because my body is telling me, my nervous system is telling me that I'm not rested enough. My nervous system is telling me that I don't have enough space and time to process in my calendar. So something has to change. Okay. If you're easily overwhelmed, if you're tuning people out of conversations, they feel like background noise. If texts and calls feel like a chore, not that you don't care about the people or the phone calls, but it's just that you don't even have the energy to engage. That is survival mode because your mind is occupied on making it through the day. Can you drop a 3 in the chat if you have ever experienced any of these things? Maybe it's now, maybe it was later, maybe it was another time. But if you've ever experienced any of these things, I want you to drop a 3. TikTok, I want you to drop a 3. And Facebook, and if you're on YouTube, put a 3 in there. Okay, this is where stress is kicking in, and that's a clue that we're in survival, that we're in survival. And so first you want to take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. As you start taking deep breaths, this literally helps you have back access to your logical brain. It helps you get out of fight, flight, and freeze and back to the other side of your nervous system. So you can go back to rest, digest, and create. The ironic thing is that when we are in survival mode, we're not even operating and able to access the highest part of our brain that solves problems. And so, where we probably in a time where you'd want to have the highest capacity to solve problems and you'd want to have the highest capacity to be able to source the best information to be the most efficient in survival mode, it puts us in fight, flight, or freeze. And sometimes that puts us in lizard brain. So lizard brain is this, if you've ever been around a lizard and you like go to like try to step on it or throw something at it and it just darts and it darts without really having a full long-term plan. It just darts to avoid the immediate impact. And then sometimes the lizard darting to avoid the immediate impact could cause it to get rolled over by a car because it wasn't thinking, I want to dart and I want to have a plan to actually move all the way out of danger. No, it just moves out of immediate danger. And moving out of immediate danger can mean, oh, I just did this, but I didn't think about where that was going to put me. Child of 83 said facts of survival mode. Let's see. Keep you in a lower thought pattern. Yes, that's exactly right. That is exactly right. It keeps us in a lower thought pattern. Okay, so survival creates exhaustion, but when we're moving into our vision, vision creates expansion. Expansion. So one is running from a nightmare, and the other is running towards divine instruction. One is literally running from a nightmare, and the other is running towards divine instruction. Okay, so today we're going to stop the cycle of just getting by so you can actually occupy the land that God has called you to live in. So I want to tell you about Keisha. By every metric, Keisha was winning. Keisha was consistent. She was admired by her peers. Her inbox was full. But when she sat down, she told me that I'm just trying not to lose what I had. right? She wasn't an entrepreneur. She was a glorified firefighter. A glorified firefighter. She was busy every day because she was terrified. And if she stopped for a second, the whole thing would collapse. That isn't productivity. That's high performance prison, right? That's a high performance prison. The signs of survival. Okay, so then there's Diane. Diane looked like she was doing less from the outside. She turned down a passive partnership because it didn't align with her North Star, with her vision. She wasn't everywhere, but she was exactly where she needed to be. She protected her peace and her priorities. And within 18 months, she didn't just grow, she accelerated. Survival is a linear path, a step by step hustle, right, Sharon? Survival is like step by step hustle. Survival is a linear path. Vision is a quantum leap because it's backed by alignment. If you're ready for a quantum leap, put quantum leap in the chat. Okay, so let me show you some signs of vision as well. So I remember sitting at my own kitchen table and I had the successful business, the buzzing phone, and the full schedule, but it felt hollow. And I realized that I had built a life based on my past fears rather than my future promise. And I was living life to avoid what I would fear instead of the life I would love. I was hitting targets that broke Tavia set, but abundant Tavia was still nowhere to be found. The key is what I'm trying to tell you is that you can be successful and still in survival mode. You can look like you're killing it and still in survival mode. So the shift doesn't just require a new funnel. The shift requires a new identity. It requires a new awareness. It requires paying attention and noticing what you're noticing, because survival mode is not good for your body. Survival mode causes us to gain weight or not be able to lose weight. Survival mode causes us to isolate ourselves because everybody feels like we're not paying attention to them. A lot of people, I won't say everybody, but people often notice that you're not paying attention, that you're too busy for them, that we aren't aware, that we aren't present, not present all the time with our kids, not present with our spouses, not even present in the things that we are doing and quote unquote checking off the to-do list. Okay. So we have to stop running from not enough and start running towards abundance is my birthright. And what I teach is to be the rested CEO for my entrepreneurs. So the identity audit. So as we look at the rest of this year, because we only have half of the year left, um, you want to know that your results aren't just determined by how hard you work. Do you know that rested people have better results than exhausted people? It seems like, how can that happen? But you will. You absolutely will. So your results aren't determined by how tired you are, which sometimes we've been taught that was a badge of honor. Be determined by the place from which you work. So you can work from pressure, or you can work from overflow. We all know that you're talented. We all know that you're gifted. And you oftentimes are just tired by carrying the things that were never meant to be yours to carry. So it's time to start surviving and start leading with your vision. So you have to ask yourself today, what's my vision for today? How about that? What is my vision for today? When you get to the end of this day, what would you love it to look like? Let's set an intention for today. So I like to set my intentions as if it's for the day, like as if it's the end of the day and that you're writing it out as how you felt. So say, for example, it's 9:30 p.m. today, and through this day, I felt fully supported. I felt at ease. I felt joy and laughter. I had fun. I welcomed in abundance and things that I would love and had meaningful connection and conversation. And then we can take a vision further out. What's your vision for the next 30 days? What would you love to manifest and create? What would you love to manifest in 30 days? And then your vision for the year. Maybe your vision for the next 30 days is to see how you can be more rested, more aware, more present, and not in survival mode, but living in joy, How can you adjust your calendar to have some white space? You can look at your calendar a few days before and decide what can be moved or what can be adjusted so you have the space to live from your vision and not just in survival mode. When you recognize the exhaustion, when you recognize that when you literally say, I just gotta make it through the day, that's telling you that you're in survival. So what can we do? What can we do? What's your vision for the next year? So we were talking last week about maximizing the last 6 months of this year. To maximize the next 6 months of this year, you don't want to have a to-do list that's so busy that you're just going from thing to thing and you're just like, I'm just checking it off, because that's going to put you in survival mode. You're going to win from vision, not survival. Okay. So I want you to remember that. I want you to be noticing what you're noticing. When you start recognizing that you went into survival, that you were just thinking about how I can get through all these things today, I just got to make it through the day. When you're recognizing the overwhelm, that your nervous system can't take another thing, I want you to start breathing. I want you to look at what's around you, look at your calendar, and figure out what can be removed, adjusted, or shifted to another time. And then I want you to write out or visualize what your real vision is, what you would love to create, what that looks like for your time and for being rested and things like that. Okay. Now, today at 12 noon, I am having a powerful session on Zoom that people have to register for. And in this session, we are literally talking about 4 things that have been blocking your abundance and how to maximize the flow. Imagine this. Imagine you're doing the right things when it comes to what we call the tactics. That comes from a book. I'm not minimizing your work. It's from a book that talks about, those things, called The Tactics and the Strategy of the hands-on thing of how to grow and how to build. But the invisible barriers, which are abundance blockers, are being activated in your life every day. And so you're doing all the right thing and you can't figure out, why is my flow slow? Why is my flow unclogged? Okay. And so the important thing to know is that there are abundance blockers that are slowing down the flow that is rightfully yours. Today, I'm going to talk about 4 of them, and you will easily be able to switch into maximizing, moving those abundance blockers out of the way so you can welcome in more money. Listen, I have taught this session to people, and within weeks, things start changing for them. Some within days, they begin welcoming in more money without any more effort, welcoming in more abundance without trying any harder. Okay, so I would love for you to join me in this session. It is a complimentary session at 12 noon Eastern time. I call it a power hour. So give yourself this power hour and definitely click the link to register. So if you're in Facebook and you want to register, we're dropping the link in. If you're on TikTok and you want to register, you can also go to my last post and it should be in there, but also you could just DM me, hey, link, just put link in there and I'll get you the link right after we end this live so you can come. It's at 12 o'clock. Can you give 1 hour of your time to release decades of abundance into your life? Come on, somebody. Or 1 hour and 15 minutes to release abundance permanently into your life. This is where you want to be at 12 noon Eastern time today. If you know somebody else that should be there, when we send you the link, send them the link too, or we'll help you register as well. But you want to be there. So activate right now. Do not wait. Do not hesitate. All righty. I love you guys so much. Have an amazing day. You get to move from being in overwhelm, from being in survival mode to being in your vision. And survival mode can be a pattern. It can be something that we become used to living in. I don't even want my kids living in survival mode. It affects every area of your life, like food. Like I noticed they were like upset at each other because somebody ate the last bar. And I'm like, hey guys, there's no stress here. No stress. All you have to do is make the grocery list and we'll get it. You don't have to feel like, oh, I gotta hurry up. One time I saw my daughter and she had put all these fruit snacks in her room, in her drawer. And I was like, Zoe, why do you have these snacks up here? Because I don't want the boys to eat all the food and then I don't have it. Oh, sweetheart, if they're eating things at a certain pace, We're not living in survival mode. All you have to do is let us know, Mommy, instead of 1 box of cheese sticks, can you get 3 boxes of cheese sticks? Instead of 1 box of this, can we have 3 so we can all eat the quantities that we would love? Or, if we need to have a conversation like, hey guys, 2 a day, for health reasons and all that stuff. But I don't want my family living in survival mode. I don't want them living in, I'm running out, there's not enough, there's not enough. I don't want them living in that mode by any means. And so I'm teaching my kids that now, because I don't want them to live in the pattern of, we won't have enough. So I got to use this up quickly, because then people do that with money. Oh, I'm going to run out of money. I get money. I got to spend it all because I'm going to run out of the money. And we have to retrain our nervous systems to live from our vision and not in survival mode, because it will show up in every area of your life. Okay? Somebody asked a question. Thank you for asking a question. What about when resources are physically limited? I love that question. Come on here. Thank you so much for asking that question. Okay, so what about when resources are physically limited? So when resources are physically limited, when you create a vision for your life, you will actually begin to shift the results that you're having and create more resources. So we start with a vision. So there's a cycle that I teach, but all of the results that we are living in right now, they start off by us creating them. And we create our results first and foremost with our thoughts. And so our thoughts are creating our results, but then the thoughts are informing your feelings. And then, so say, for example, if I start thinking, I'm never going to have enough, I'm never going to have enough, I'm never going to have enough, then how do I feel? I probably feel like I'm at a deficit, and I probably feel like I could try to outwork the problem, but I feel sad, I feel defeated, I could feel depressed. And then what is thoughts and then feelings and then actions? So what actions am I going to take? It's up to you, but there's going to be an action that follows that. And that action is going to create your results over and over and over and over and over again. So when you create a vision that is something you would absolutely love, your thought process and thoughts begin to change. And when your thoughts change, your feelings are going to change and your actions are going to change. And so you will start to move out of only having enough. But to shift our results from only having enough, it literally starts with having new trains of thought. There's a reason why they show that the 5 people that you hang around will determine where you are for the next 3 to 5 years of your life. The 5 people you hang around in the books you read. And so anytime you want to change your situation, you want to change the level of money that you have in your flow. You want to change your emotional set point, how you're being. You want to change things. It is going to be changed by the books you read and the people you associate with. And that's why mentorship is so important. That's why it's important to be around the people who are where you desire to be, not just only where you are, so that you can create the next level thoughts that move you out of exhaustion, move us out of just having enough and into survival and thriving. Okay. So thank you for that question. Thank you for that question. I would love for you to join us today at 12 noon if you can as well. Just DM me link and I'll get that to you so we can spend some more time together on Zoom. Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. You guys have an amazing day. I will see those who can join at noon. I would love to see you. And then next week we'll be here at 7 a.m. as well for another powerful topic. You are so welcome. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to everybody soon. Bye. Thank you so much for joining. Have a phenomenal